Hello, BookTube, and we're here just in time to have Blondie uh, yawn. Jeez, I can't even get my words out. Uh, Hello, everybody. It's another week of weekly reads, and I do have something that I've read. So I haven't finished the book, but I'm partway through. How about you, Brandy?
I finished one book and then I started another and then I did an audio play.
An audio play, or what do you
Yeah,
mean?
or a teleplay or what did they call the little plays they did on the radio?
Radio dramas,
A radio drama. And then I listened to a radio drama. There you go.
Yeah, yeah, because you listen to audiobooks too, so I wasn't quite sure. But then they
Yeah.
do some audiobooks with full cast, so it's almost a drama, you know.
Well, this one was made for, it was done in the style of because what it was H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds.
Okay.
And it had Gates McFadden and Brent Spiner, and they were doing and some and other people. But that's the reason I listened to it, was for the Star Trek cast.
Uh,
And they did the War of the Worlds in a as a radio drama. And they brought in this old fashioned flair to it. So it was interesting.
good.
It
Aaron
was
here.
Hi,
Sorry.
Aaron. It was really abridged though. It was very, very abridged.
I still like Orson Welles' version, even though it's not even close to the book, but it's
Yeah.
still fun. It's still got a good atmosphere to it.
Yeah.
And I still love the news reports like that are on film the next day, and he's like he hasn't slept, like it's like he's been up all night after the broadcast, and they're saying how it shocked the world. I'm really sorry and stuff like that. You can just see, he's just inside, just go yes.
Right.
Aaron says, I'm not quite sure whether the look on Sean's face in the thumbnail was agony or ecstasy. On this one, I guess. Well,
Well, he was supposed to be drowning,
yeah.
but you know what? This is the second thumbnail that I have failed with, because last week's, you know, I accidentally made that look practically pornographic. But what I was going for, it didn't even occur to me that that's what it looked like. But what I was going for was the people who were coming over with the bow and arrow, and then Sean and me as dogs were like, "Oh yeah, we're so scared." That's what it was supposed to give the impression of, but that is not how that turned out. And I didn't even know it. It didn't even occur to me until later. And then this time, Sean didn't even know what was going on in this thumbnail. And I was like, well, you're supposed to be drowning. I'm watching him drowned in this one, but you can't tell that.
So I'm not sure if that's Freudian or what.
Oh,
So yeah. So where were we? Oh
well, you
yeah,
were
War of the
telling me
World.
about that, what you were reading. I mean, I was talking about the radio play, yeah, but before we actually went live, you were telling me about the book that you were reading. So I don't know if you want to continue on since you're kind of on a roll there.
Yeah, I suppose so. I've been reading this, The Mysteries of London, which was a serialized story. It's in two volumes that are 1,100 plus pages each, so it's like 22 and a half or 2,300 pages in this format, which isn't bad, but there's a lot of text. Um, and it was written, serialized over a year, I think in 44, 45, and then published in book form in 1846.
Hmm.
And it's based on Eugene Sue did, The Mysteries of Paris, which was again another serialized story of the underworld of Paris, but also having the sort of upper class as well. And that started a craze. And one of the earlier ones was The Mysteries of London, by George W.M. Reynolds, who wrote a whole bunch of stuff.
Hmm.
But he continued writing this. He wrote a second series that's as big as this, over 2,000 pages. Then somebody else was hired for series 3 and 4. Then he went back to it, again later, uh, to do the Courts of London. I think it is set in George III, and that amounted to 10 series. So that's like over 5,000 pages or 6,000 pages. of text. It's in 20 volumes, and I do have part of that. I have 15 of the 20 volumes, so I plan on reading it all the way through. Hopefully, if I can get series 3 and 4. But anyway, this one here, it's kind of sprawling. It really starts out slow, a lot slower than Mysteries of Paris. Mysteries of Paris, you really get into action and you get into really colorful characters very quickly. This one is a bit of a slow burn, but you do get you get a resurrection man, and you see all that kind of stuff with him digging up bodies, killing people. He's kind of smooth, so when you first see him, you think, oh, this is kind of could be a good guy, but no, you know. And his mother is called the Mummy, Mummmy,
Oh
because
my gosh.
so skinny and so dried out that everybody calls her the Mummy.
That's funny.
So he's got a collection of people that do X, Y, and Z. So he's one of the main characters throughout the book so far, and I'm on page just over 800 pages. But another main character is a Richard Markham, was like, it starts out that there's two brothers that the one brother becomes or loses some money and the father won't help, so he disappears, and they say that they'll meet again on this hill in 1843, I think 10 or 15 years later, but they're not of age yet, so they're not of age to get their inheritance. So the one brother disappears, and the main brother, Richard Markham, he gets tied up with some bad guys who frame him for forgery. So he spends 2 years in prison
Mm.
while for forgery that he didn't commit. He comes out that his father had died in the meantime, and there's somebody who's looking after the estate, but he invests money with a charlatan who takes all the money. So he's basically loses all the money except the house and things
Mm.
like this. He's pursuing this guy, and he's there's other people involved. There's a myriad of characters, but there's the one bad guy too. The guy that's he'll make fake investments and stuff like this, but he always comes out on top, and he becomes an MP. He gets elected as a Liberal MP and immediately turns Conservative. But he's a member of Parliament now, and he's filthy rich, and he's screwing around with people, literally and figuratively, uh, throughout, throughout the story. But and then like there's this mysterious brother who says he's not going to come back until he makes his fortune. They're going to compare notes in 1843 to see who's more prosperous. I know who he is. He's still around, because as soon as there was on a tree a date with his name on it, and I go, oh, so he's still around. I know who he is. I know what character he is, but I'm sure it is. It's not that subtle, uh, but anyway, yeah, it's pretty good, because you got these characters. It shows the poor, very poor. Like this one woman, her husband comes out of prison, and she sends her kids out, a young daughter and a younger son, to go out begging, and they don't come back with much. She doesn't want to do much begging, so she devises a plan to purposely blind her, and then so you have more pity and get more uh,
Money.
money, yeah, for begging.
Mm.
But her husband kills her before she gets to put that into effect. It's just it's got all that kind of thing, and it shows like government, it shows everything, and there's just this little bit here that, well, the thing is with Mysteries of Paris too, the author begins to throw in things as his theories of why people are poor, and social justice and stuff, like what is happening. It's a bit hazy, but it caused a big stir. And Reynolds is doing very much similar here. He does it very bluntly at times. And this one is like, it's in a minister's office, a government minister's office, who's giving last instructions to somebody who's going to be a magistrate. And he says to him, in a word, continued the minister, you must always shield the upper classes as much as possible. And in order to veil their little peccadillos bring out the misdeeds of the lower orders in the boldest relief. This is the only way to support the doctrine that the poor must be governed by the rich. Whenever young boys or girls appear as witnesses, ask them if they know the value of an oath. And if they reply in the negative, expiate upon the frightful immorality prevalent among the poor classes, so that the reporters may record your observation. This does good and enables the bishops to make long speeches in the House of Lords on the necessity of religious instruction and the want of more churches. If you attend to these remarks of mine, Mr. Tenham, you will make an excellent magistrate. And I just thought, well, yeah, that's a bit heavy-handed.
Yeah.
And he's writing at the time of Dickens, but people read him more. He sold way more than Dickens ever did. This was done in weekly parts, and over 500,000 copies were sold every week of this story. And then when it was published in a book, it sold over 1 million copies.
Wow.
This is 1840s.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But it's like I say, it's because it's written as a serial. There's a lot of verbiage to it. There's a lot of words, not verbiage, wordage, and it goes off into tangents of people. It gives their stories, then it backs up and gives the other stories, and then it takes about 300 pages before you start seeing how these characters are coming together, and they're still coming together.
Nice.
Steve's here.
Hey, Steve.
Brett once showed me the mysteries of London in the men's room at the Odeon in Leeds. It was an adventure in multiple parts. Yes.
God. Oh.
Yanni, thanks for dropping by. Bill's here. Today, that minister's advice is now the editorial stance of the Guardian. But yeah, it's like he was actually hated, apparently. Like, I looked up a few things, the writer, because people read this, millions of people read this, and so they believed whatever he said of the reasons. Like, he goes on a big diatribe or a footnote of why prostitution, why women become prostitutes. And it's like, some of it makes sense, but a lot of the stuff that they were saying, him as a writer and Eugene Sue, wasn't really thought out that well, but it was visceral. It made sense at the time. You could actually see whatever he said. You could point to something and saying that's evidence of it. But the reasons behind that probably are a little different than he said. But
yeah.
And so people followed it, and that's why, like, I plan on continued reading it. I'm going to take a break once I get this one done to read a Clifford Simak book, but and then I'll be on to volume 2.
So how many volumes of that did you say you had?
I have just the first series, 2 volumes.
Okay.
I have the others in ebook, and what I've been trying to, because I've been so more tired than usual lately, so I spend a lot more time snoozing and resting. So I'm trying to use ebooks a little more, a little bit. So I'm getting to a point where if I do small snatches of it, like about 4 or 5 pages at a time, then I can actually over the day read more in ebook form on my tablet. So that's what I do, because sometimes that's all I can do is read 2 or 3 pages, because there was a time I was trying to read 1 page and it took me half an hour and I kept dozing off, and I'm going, oh, I'm leaving that. I didn't even get down the first paragraph. So but that's what I do upstairs, and so it's at night, the lights out, and I can read a little bit and then snooze a bit more. So I do that in between, so it's helping me. I get about
That's great.
I'm barely doing 100 pages today, or a day now, reading. So I'm doing about 20 of those as ebook, which is pretty good for me. So hopefully that stays there.
Ninja decided to say hi. Ninja wanted to say hi to Steve specifically.
Just watched episodes of The Brilliant Yes Minister on YouTube, and little has changed the purpose behind this. Yeah. That's a fabulous series.
Mm.
Has there ever been an accessible paperback editions of Mysteries of the Courts of London? No, I don't think so. The British Library, I think, has reprinted several volumes. I've got 15 volumes of a 20 volume set of it was a limited edition, I think the Oxford edition, but there were several bindings of it, all limited editions. So, but I'm going to have to either fill it in with these digital reprints or find PDFs of the missing volumes as I read it through. It's not something I'm going to be finished reading in any time soon. Like, I figure there's close to 10,000 pages of text in this thing. But it's a series 3 and 4 that is almost impossible to find because there was two different people hired to write it, and they're much shorter. They could be like 400 pages each, or both in one book at 400 pages, because it had a slightly different subtitle to it as well. But Reynolds apparently continued to say that his series for series 1 and series 2 is a continuous novel. It's one novel, so that's got to be, if it really is,
Mhm.
that's like 2,400 pages.
Mhm.
Oh no,
That
no,
is
that's more than
normal.
that. Oh, sorry, no, it's more than that. It's like almost 4,500 pages. So it's like it's bigger than Proust. It's bigger than most things. Uh, yeah. Well, I don't think many people have been to the Leeds of Steve. Steve's Leeds. No
What
matter
is
what years.
what's the leads?
Well, Leeds is a place. It's a city.
Oh, it's a city. Okay. I thought it was a building.
No, well, the cinema is that Steve's talking about, but
Ah,
uh, but there's a fabulous, a great live album from Leeds, the Who. I think it's the Who in Leeds, Who live
ah.
at Leeds. But you're being attacked by a Sasquatch.
Well, come
Hi,
on,
Gavin. Beautiful black art. We could go all Miss Slocum here, but then
baby. You
that's,
could go Miss Slocum,
yeah,
meaning what?
it's Mrs. Slocum from things. She's always saying that she's late because she had to thaw out her pussy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, the yes minister and yes prime minister is fabulous, and yeah, it's basically timeless as long as you've got governments. The your generation, Sean. Yeah, almost. Well, probably a little before me, but I do love the Who. So yeah, so that's all I've read, and I still got 350 pages to go. So I'll be finished that. Hopefully, I can. Sounds like some kids are being ripped apart out in the back here. Um, where was I? Oh yeah, I've got 350 pages to go, so hopefully I can finish that on Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday read um, this month's Clifford Simac.
Special moments.
Yeah. So there, hopefully next Sunday, we'll be discussing this. Brandy has made a really fabulous um, thumbnail.
Thumbnail.
Yeah. Aaron's going to be joining, but it's like I don't know if it's too late to put
No,
Aaron in there. So,
no, I
oh,
could put Aaron in there.
like if you could get maybe, well, I'll speak to you about that before because I think I know how to do that because I mentioned it before. Um, so Pete Townsend, yeah. So, oh,
Oh God, Steve.
but Pete Townsend would.
Okay, well, I read the only book I finished was Dark Matter and the Dinosaurs by Lisa Randall. which I greatly enjoyed. It's a little bit old, so some of the things that she said in here were outdated. I think this was 2015. Yeah, 2015 was when this came out. Like, one of the things that she was talking about was the group looking for, or the program that's scanning the sky for comets and asteroids that might impact Earth. And she talks about how a way to defend against those was being talked about, and there were several plans being kind of tossed around, but nobody was really taking it seriously. And I'm like, well, in the 9 years since this book has been published, they not only picked a plan, but they implemented and tested it. So like that was a little out. And but I'll tell you that when I read that, I was like, that was just 9 years ago, and it wasn't even being taken like particularly seriously at that time. What did they learn that they decided to pick a plan and get on testing it right away like that? So anyway, like, what do they know that we don't? I mean, I'm teasing, but
at that time, when they weren't doing anything, did they know that the one that was coming, that's going to be probably near miss, what is it called, Apophis? I think that they've named the asteroid Apophis.
Well, she didn't say anything about it. She just said that there are a lot of them that are going to pass by Earth, but as far as we could tell so far, they weren't going to impact Earth. So yeah, but I think even if they did find one, even if that group did find that a comet or an asteroid was going to hit Earth, they wouldn't tell us about it. We wouldn't know about it. I don't think they'd tell us, because it would cause a worldwide panic. It would be a disaster for them to tell us about it if there is. But really what this was about was dark matter, really. And about her and her collaborators having figured out this potential, this idea that there's potentially a disk of dark matter embedded within our galaxy, within the regular matter. And so I haven't looked up to see like if that's come along any farther, because she was talking about they were going to get some data from the Gaia telescope to see whether or not it fit in with their hypothesis. And I haven't looked into it, but I'm going to. But this was super interesting. I really enjoyed reading this a lot.
Did she say like anything about that it contributed to the dinosaurs or to?
Yeah, I really think that's in the title for the marketing factor, because all she was really saying about that was that if there is this disk of dark matter embedded in with the regular matter, that could potentially influence how objects that are in the Oort cloud and the Kuiper belt and in the Oort cloud coming out towards us. It could possibly dislodge these things when they otherwise wouldn't have. So that's all. She wasn't saying that something was dislodged by this potentially partially interacting dark matter, which that's one of the things that that they're floating around, that could be that dark matter could only partially interact with regular matter. But anyway, she just loosely says that could have been a factor if that's the case, but she's not saying it is or anything like that. It's not even the focus of the book.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
If it was, then they would have to address Tunguska, which they still don't know what really happened, other than possibly, I guess, a comet that exploded however many meters above the ground.
From which one you got blocked out when you said the which one?
Tunguska.
Tunguska. Okay, she did talk about that in here, but I don't remember what she said about it.
Okay, Steve says here, what did they learn about in the meantime? One word, umau. Why does that sound familiar?
Because that's the I think they decided it was a piece of a planet or something that was traveling through our solar system that was from outside of our solar system, and it appeared to be cigar shaped, but it turned out it was more pancake shaped. And this one AV Loeb, I think is his name. Do what?
The spaceship.
Yeah, they thought it. This guy said, "Oh, it could potentially be a probe or whatever from an alien species and be solar wind powered and all that." I mean, I don't believe that. I mean, but the guy A.V. Loeb who was talking about that, he wrote an entire book about it. I have the book, I just haven't read it yet. But I mean, I don't believe that though.
Well, if you believe that, the moon is just covered, is has a skin of rock, and it's a civilization and a spaceship inside, right?
Oh.
And the royal family are lizards. There's all
Well,
sorts of things like that.
the guy who talks about it, he's actually not some quack. He was actually a really well respected scientist. So I mean, he was a respected guy. I mean, so I mean, it was a little, surprising that somebody like that would start floating that around, thinking that that's what it is. So I don't. I haven't read his book, so I don't know exactly what his claims are about that. But I'm gonna find out at some point.
Just look at politicians. Respected people can be batshit insane as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It was flat. It was extra solar system. It was self powered. It was temperature controlled. Just like the average asteroid.
Right, right. Yeah. And then Steve will appreciate this. I started the first Brother Cadfael, the first book in the series called A Morbid Taste for Bones by Ellis Peters. I'm reading this with Mark Richardson. He had picked up a number of paperbacks with beautiful covers that look kind of like stained glass. Beautiful covers. I was really jealous, but we got to talking about that one night. And I said I'd been wanting to read them. I think Steve's channel was actually the first place I saw them, or maybe it wasn't Steve. I can't remember, but I know it came up on Steve's channel, and it came up when I was talking about it with Thomas one time too. But yeah, I've been curious about them, so we're going to read this. Scott Danielson tells me that somebody else told him the first book was terrible, so he skipped the first book and read the second one. But I'm already 55 pages into this one, so I'm going to finish this, and then I'll read the second one.
Steve says, "Yeah, same as me. I've never seen that edition."
Yeah,
And
you.
Mark is here as well. Yeah, the ones that Mark has are the ones that I'd love to get.
I know they're
The
beautiful,
editions.
beautiful.
I've never read any of them. I've seen the TV series and the radio series, which doesn't have what's his name is the actor. But anyway, it's got somebody else, but they're really well done. The radio series too. They're a bit different. They're really really good, and I'd love to read the book.
Well, this one's boring so far. I was expecting a murder mystery, but so far nobody's been killed, so I'm really disappointed. But I figure at some point somebody's got to get killed, right? Because there's a guy with an arrow in his gut, so
Yeah,
somebody's got to die.
but it's about Brother Cadfile. It's just incidental that that there's something that he investigates, that somebody dies. It's incidental.
So it's not.
It's about
Well, I thought you said you didn't read them. If you didn't read them, how would you know?
well, I've seen the TV show. Yeah,
Oh,
Jacoby. Yeah,
well, that might not line up. Anyways, I want a murder mystery being investigated by a monk in the medieval times.
he does. He does get to it. He does get to it. Yeah,
Well,
Phil
somebody
Maddox.
better die soon in this book because it's boring so far.
Yeah, Phil Maddox plays Cadfile on the radio, and they're both excellent, like the TV series. But I do want to read the book. What's this? Liberal Paradiso. I think now it's been proven that it wasn't an asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, but a giant space freighter. As it Doctor Who.
Yeah, I like that. Oh,
But I
somebody
always
has
took
to
it as,
die.
but I always took it as that it's about Cadfile and his world, and the monks, and it's just and his struggle with using logic in the face of religious dogma,
Yeah.
and the murders are just the ploy in order for the writer to get that story in about him. That's how I always took it.
Well, we'll all see. I will find out.
Oh, this is interesting. We could, if we do the, oh, well, I hope we do the Decline and Fall. Uh, Phil Maddox does an abridged audiobook of the history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. He's got a really good voice, but too bad it's not unabridged. But that would be a long audiobook.
Yeah. Well, there's probably an unabridged version somewhere.
Yeah. But like, how do they deal with footnotes in
I don't
audiobooks?
know.
Do they
Well,
deal?
the audiobooks that I've listened to, they do include the footnotes, but they like drop their tone of voice when they read the footnotes before they go back to the regular text. And then I've seen others of it where like in a pause, they'll take a pause somewhere and then they'll read the footnote and then they'll go back to the regular text. So
Well, you heard it here first. If Mark disappears under mysterious circumstances, we know who to investigate.
I'm
And
not ready to die. Oh shoot.
and I guess there is an unabridged audio on Audible
Okay.
of
Yeah.
Decline and Fall. Love the depiction of medieval Wales and Shropshire. Well, that's why I love the TV series because Derek Jacobi was so good. And then I discovered the audio ones, which I first when I heard it wasn't him, I go, oh no, that can't be that good. But the guy who does it, I think it's the same guy who wrote it and directed it. I can't remember his name, but it's the same guy who did the newer Sherlock Holmes with Clive Merrison, and they're excellent as well.
Well, wait, when you say newer Sherlock Holmes, you don't mean the one with that Cumberbatch guy, right?
No. Newer radio. They
Oh,
did a
radio.
radio
Okay.
series, and
Okay.
newer I mean last 20 or 30 years because
I got you.
I don't think they've done any since then. I don't think so. But they did the whole. It was the first time I think they did the actual whole canon on radio, and did more actually, and wrote other ones.
I'm laughing at this comment here. I
I
should
think they should
keep
write.
helium on it.
Yeah. Well, and note three. Uh, Decline and Fall kind of might reread Evil Was. Yeah, Decline and Fall. Same name, nothing to do with the Romans. I don't recall. No. Yeah. Mark probably still has some friends from his old days, so you better watch it. But then Steve could have the Boston Mafia there, the Boston Irish side, or the Italians. It depends. Would an audio Gibbon translate the footnotes into English? They would have to. That's the problem. That's why like the new uh, well, the one that we're gonna read is the Penguin one, so that should be. Or no, you're not. You don't have the Penguin one. I got the
I'm
Penguin.
a modern library.
I don't know. I don't know what the footnotes are in that. Are they like do they translate the Latin in the footnotes of that one? I'm not sure.
There are footnotes in the modern library edition, so
There aren't.
there are.
Yeah, but the thing is that do they translate the Latin
Oh,
throughout?
I don't know. I
In
didn't
the
look at it that
original,
closely.
I don't think there is no translation of Latin.
Yeah.
On a film though, Gina Rowlands and Alan DeLeon have died. I don't know who Alan DeLon is. Gina Rowlands, I know. Enjoyed the film, especially those by DeLon, like Swimming Pool and Purple Noon. I don't think I know him. I can't.
Well, I saw the Talented Mr. Ripley movie, but I don't know who all was involved other than the actors in it.
Yeah, but this is an adaptation of the book, a different one, I guess. So there's a couple of.
Or are we talking about? Oh, he says films.
Yeah, but there's a talented. It's a book originally. So
Yeah.
Mr. Ripley is a film version of the book, and then by sounds of it, this other one called Purple Noon is another film adaptation. So there could be an American version and a British version. It's usually the way it is. Or get them to do the footnotes using Swanee whistle like Clangers. Uh, got the yeah. He's Mark has the folio given. I don't know what text they used for that. I just know, like I read a 19th century version late 19th century version, I think it was, um, of Decline and Fall, long time ago. And then I found volume one of the Penguin one. I think I was still in Canada, and I read that, and I never continued. But then I found a nice hardcover edition of it, so that's what I want to do. The Clangers. That's something that's very British. You never would have seen that in the U.S.
Hmm.
I don't even think I saw it in Canada. I can't even remember. It's puppets, I think, isn't it?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, no, you never would in North America. uh, Libra Paradiso. I think Purple Moon was the first adaptation of the book. It was French. Okay, yeah, okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, it's like they're puppets. They're rats. I think the Clangers. I think, isn't it?
Hmm.
I'm not sure. Still talking about the Clangers, which nobody knows. Want the Folio Gibbon autobiography? Yeah, I've got an old version of it. I've got a 3-volume set of his letters that I picked up really cheap. But yeah, I've got an old version of his autobiography. And the one thing that I'm not sure if I have, because I remember seeing it, it was if somebody who's written a book about his library, and my it was in the bookshop in Bedford, and I'm not sure if I ever bought it because it was something that I always wanted and I couldn't remember, and obviously I haven't found it yet, so it could be here, or I didn't buy it, and I looked it up and it was like, oh, that may be why I didn't buy it because I saw the price of it. No, well, I'll send you pictures. I don't have them to hand here, but I think it's 3 volumes. They're Oxford. It's not complete, but it was a charity shop that had them for sale here, and it was kind of a weird thing. It was on eBay, and I sort of said, well, it's a little too pricey for me. It was free shipping, so I said, well, could I send an offer for them? And so I sent an offer. They didn't ask for an offer, but I just, and they're going, oh well, it's every individual shop, and we can't make any decision on this. It's up to them. And then I said, well, maybe a strange thought, just out of the box, send this message to the shop that has it. So nothing happened. A month or two later, I did get an offer for it, but then it said make counter offer. So I doubled down and put less. I think I put like 20 or 25 pounds for them, and because that's all I had, and they accepted it. So it was like I got it for less than half the price they wanted. So I was
Nice.
pleased. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I thought they were rats. See, I don't know them. I've never seen a show. All I've seen is references to the Clangers. I thought they were space creatures living in another planet. Oh,
That's
okay. Then that's completely. I don't know anything about them then. I just know that I never heard of them until I came to the UK. Like a lot of things, there's things that just never ever got over the pond, and there's things that got to Canada that never got to the US. A lot of TV shows.
Yeah.
Um, but thankfully, a lot of good stuff did.
Oh,
So.
Sean, I gotta show you. Well, maybe I already showed you because you told me about this book, and it was a little pricey. And
Oh, no, you showed it to me.
yeah. Did I show you already?
No.
Oh, okay, yeah, I went ahead and got it. I splurged. And it says it has 5 unpublished stories in it. So I was super pleased to get this.
Well,
I didn't
5
know.
never before collected stories. They
Do I?
have been published, but only in magazines.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I didn't know when I got it that it was a limited edition, that they were only going to have 1,000 of them. So I was glad that I picked it up. But I'm super pleased to have this book. I wish they did something better to the naked book, though. See, it's just plain on the outside. And I was kind of hoping they would have done something on the cover because, they do that with some of these special editions. But they did it. But that's okay. I won't complain. I'm just happy to have it. So Yeah.
Yeah, Subterranean Press. They do some good science fiction stuff, but yeah, the hardcovers are usually they are plain. Like they put stuff out with without dust jackets. I think the Robert Silverberg collection that Steve I think got one in a or I saw somebody get one in a book called it was either Steve or Mark of Robert Silverberg that it was going through chronologically his short stories, and they put it out in um, in hardcover first, and they're just red with I think silver lettering on it, and
Oh,
that's it. It's very ugly, and then the paperbacks were much brighter. Well, Mark wants to know what is it. It's a John Wyndham, but you can.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a collection of John Wyndham short stories.
And Aaron is asking what was the War of the Worlds radio play produced by Alien Voices?
No, it was produced by L.A. Theater Works. And it had Gates McFadden and Britt Spiner as two of the cast. It had a full cast.
The Wyndham book does it say which stories were
Yeah.
uncollected before?
Oh, does it say which ones weren't published or weren't collected? I should say.
Because there isn't that many. There's about a dozen in
No,
there.
it doesn't say which ones weren't collected, but it probably does in the introduction. Let me look.
Or just read off what's in the contents page then.
I could do that. Well, I did, and nothing jumped out at me to say which ones were the uncollected ones, but it's got The Lost Machine, Spheres of Hell, The Man from Beyond, Beyond the Screen, Child of Power, The Living Lies, The Eternal Eve, Polly's Peepholes, The Wheel, Survival, Chinese Puzzle, perf- okay, I'm not saying this right. Perforce to Dream. How do you say that?
I can't see it. Perforce, I guess. Yeah. Isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, Never on Mars, Compassion Circuit, Brief to Council, Odd, The Asteroid 2194, and A Stitch in Time.
Well, I know Stitch in Time was done
Being collected.
a few of those, yeah. But yeah, that I think includes all stuff like under John Benyon Harris, John whatever Benyon Harris. Like he's got about 10 names, and he's published under a variation of picking various names throughout.
Well, I'm going to see if the introduction says which ones were not included in another collection before.
Who did the introduction? Does it say?
Yeah. The introduction is by Michael Marshall Smith.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who it is either.
Yeah, I'd like to get it, but it's quite pricey here.
It was $50 here.
Yeah, I think I can order one, but I never ordered from them off eBay, and it would be about almost £60. And I think somebody has it here for like 60 some pounds plus 4 or 5 pounds shipping.
I see.
Libra Paradiso enjoyed Historia de una Balana Blanco, History of the White Whale by Chilean writer Louis Sepulveda. Is told from the point of view of Moby Dick, the sperm
Oh,
whale that inspired Melville. Wonder, oh, that's interesting.
yeah, that would be interesting.
And Aaron is saying okay about the War of the Worlds when you mentioned it had Star Trek characters, and I thought Alien Voices because it was a company set up by Leonard Nimoy and John Delancey and adapted SF books as radio plays with Star Trek characters or actors. Sorry.
Ah. Oh, Leonard Nimoy is in that too. That radio play. Well, I mean, I didn't have it physically. It was just digitally, and on the digital thing, it said L.A. Theater Works. So
Hopefully, it will be translated in English. Oh, that's the. Oh, so it's not that Chilean book is not translated yet, by the sounds of it, into English.
hmm.
Uh, and they're saying Alien Voices adapted quite a few of H.G. Wells' stories. Favorite was their adaptation of the Time Machine. Yeah, I never heard of any of those. I don't think I've ever come across them because I know Leonard Nimoy did do. I used to find records of him doing things and singing. Horrible, horrible, you could do a whole show of Shatner trying to sing, Nimoy trying to sing, and even Captain Picard trying to sing. I don't know if any of the others do singing. Probably Uhura, probably Nichelle Nichols probably tried at some point.
Did
I
you
don't know.
did you see William Shatner doing the spoken word music?
Well, I know he did Ghost Riders in the Sky, and he did some other stuff.
But you haven't seen him performing the whole spoken word songs or anything like that? Oh
No.
God. Later on I'm gonna send you a video and you are going to die. That's what I'm gonna do. It is hilarious.
Yeah, but I don't know. I wonder if anybody else. That's the thing. Does anybody else know? Has any other Star Trek actors? Uh, oh, so Brent Spiner has, or Brent Sooner Spiner, I think. I mean, '60s album covers. Oh yeah, the album cover. Yeah, so Brett Spiner has. But yeah, a lot of them seem to do. Even Babylon 5 actors um, have done. Have done singing in albums.
Albums.
So, yeah, Brett Spiner. So that's four. So I don't know if anybody else like anything. Like I just love to see Chekhov do it in Chekhov's voice, or Scotty trying to sing. Scotty's trying to sing, Scottish folk songs. Libera Paradiso. There are many good Spanish language books which haven't been translated. I think I may do a video one day talking history of the white whale and other untranslated Spanish language books that should be translated. Oh, so yeah, so he has done. Scotty has done. I guess started as singer.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I did not know that.
Okay, so yeah, so Nichelle Nichols as well. So yeah, that's why I sort of figured that she probably did. I didn't
Yeah.
just sort of guess that she probably did. So that'd be kind of some. I bet there's some Star Trek fan out there has all the albums of these people,
Yeah.
and using white gloves to put them on the if they use. uh, I just can't picture him though singing. Okay, then somebody's now going to say that DeForest Kelly did cowboy songs or something like that. Who else? Who else could have done it?
I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. Other than Nichelle Nichols, and of course I already knew about Leonard Nimoy, and then I knew, unfortunately, about William Shatner's whole spoken word thing, which I'm never getting over William Shatner doing spoken word. That was hilarious.
That's scary. I don't. Yeah, I don't know who the actor is. Oh, is that? Oh, that's what's it? That's the little guy. What's his name? Can't think of his name now.
Yeah,
Is he
I don't know I don't know that actor's name either.
Yeah, because well, is he the one that was in Time Bandits? He was a crooner. Oh, Duhan as a crooner. Oh, jeez, yeah, that's just scary. Yeah, Shatner did. Yeah,
Yeah.
He shat on everything.
I'm gonna give William Shatner this. The man is not afraid to try new things.
Hey Sean, I just saw the movie Predestination. It's based on Heinlein's All You Zombies. I haven't read that yet. Have you seen? No, I don't think I've heard of it. It's sounding a bit familiar, but I definitely haven't seen it. Shatner gets better over time. The cover of Common People. Oh God, yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that now. Yeah, Ben Fold contacted William Shatner to do this spoken word thing, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But the one from the 70s or whatever, that is hilarious. But yeah,
Well,
that wasn't bad.
did he do MacArthur? Yeah, he did. Yeah, doing MacArthur Park. Oh God, that's bloody scary. Oh, so no, the CPO, C3PO one is a joke. Why? Who knows? It could be, But yeah, so yeah, that's quite a few. That is, especially from the original cast. That's a huge chunk of them.
Yeah. It's really not surprising. A lot of actors try to put out music as well.
Well, to be an actor, usually they do have to sing, because if they did theater, usually they're going to do some kind of musical theater, so they at least have to technically know how to sing. Whether it's good is another question, but technically to sing and maybe
I mean,
play
is that
piano.
is that true now though? I mean, I know that was true, like, back in the golden age, but is that really true now, do you think? I would think that wouldn't be true now.
If they're doing stage and theater, I would think it still is. But if they're going directly into TV or movies, probably not. I don't know, but I would think they'd still have to on stage, because a lot of stuff there's musical theater, so they'd be cut out. They'd be cut out of it. They just wouldn't be able to, um, for lack of singing one song, they wouldn't be able to audition for it. Yeah, you just find work wherever you can. Yeah, and yeah, but still, a lot of actors still do it. Still put out stuff and sing. Like what Johnny Depp still does. He does. I don't know if does he actually sing. I don't think he sings.
I have
Uh,
no idea.
but what's her name? Zoe Deschanel sings. She's got a band. There's a duo that she does.
Yeah. Isn't her music funny? Isn't it comedy?
No, not really. She usually does. Um, Well, some of it, but she usually does old standards, like from
Oh,
the
okay.
50s and stuff, old stuff.
Okay.
Nathan Lane. Oh, yeah, I know who Nathan Lane is. Yeah, the golden age. That's a lovely, comforting term. But yeah, so what else you're going to continue with CAD File? Is just the first book, or?
I'm gonna read the second one too because I'm not really enjoying the first one very well. And Scott Danielson had somebody tell him the first one wasn't good, so he skipped it entirely. And so if it's really not going to turn out to be a good book, I don't want to like not read the series just because of based on one book. So I'm going to go on and read the second one, which by all accounts is good. So yeah, I'll finish this first one and then read the second one, and then whether or not I go from there, we'll see.
Yeah, I'd love to get the. I think it's the Mysterious Press as the one that Mark has the series.
Yeah, I love those covers. Those are beautiful covers.
The golden age was 1980. Yeah, I'm just gonna, as I say, I'm gonna continue with this. I'm enjoying it. Like I say, it's a big investment of time, obviously, for people, but it's a bit slow. But it is fun. That's the thing, because you get to see
Yeah.
all these things. It's quite amazing.
Well, you seem
Like,
like you're having a good time with that.
yeah, I'd like to know if reading Catfile is more enjoyable than the TV series, which I never got into myself.
I never saw the TV series. Yeah. I don't know anything about it. I didn't even know there was one.
Well, one thing I'd like to do is there's several TV series that are based on books like this, like a lot of mysteries and stuff. There's the Poirot, the Miss Marple, there's the Cad File, uh, even Rumpole, the Bailey, which I've read all those pretty well. But there's all these TV shows that have been done from these mystery books, and I'd love to just read the book and then watch the episode,
Yeah.
and just do that every so often. And there's so many of them because a lot of that stuff I've never read. I never ever read. It's like there's so many of the stuff from Niall Marsh, um, and other writers that have been done that I really like the TV series, but I've never read the books.
Hmm.
Yeah, Morse. Yeah, I've read most of the Morse ones. The and it's strange. I didn't really. I'd seen the TV series, then I picked up a box set and I read through them very quickly, and I never really thought too much of the books that much. And then I, for some reason, picked up a book again, and I thought, oh, this is marvelous. I don't know why. It was a reread of it. Wycliffe, yeah, I like the Wycliffe series, um, but I've never read. Yeah, it's set in Cornwall. I've never read any of the stories. I can't remember who the it's a female author, I think, if I remember right. But yeah, there's so many of those that they did, and they're really good series. And I just love to read the books.
I never did get into mystery until like the last 3 or 4 years. I just never, it was just not a genre that appealed to me. And so it's a newer genre for me. I'm only just now realizing that I like mysteries.
Well, I always watched them. I enjoyed watching them, but I never read them until I started maybe about 10 years ago, and I'm now reading all that old stuff. Um, but yeah, I enjoy them. Oh, what's the other one? Lord Peter Wimsey. Those I'd like to those I like to read through because I've
The
read
only
up to one of
the only mystery TV show I can think of that was popular in the U.S. was Murder She Wrote, but I don't think they were based on books.
them. No, and guess who wrote a lot of those? The creator of Babylon 5, J. Michael
Oh,
Straczynski.
wow.
Um, Libera Paradiso said the Target novelization of Doctor Who are excellent. Harlan Ellison recommended them in an essay I read, which made me, oh, I didn't know he recommended those. Yeah, I never read any of them. That's the thing. I never read that kind of stuff too much. No, I thought Wycliffe was. I'm sure there's books on Wycliffe. Oh, I could be wrong. I thought there was. Spectre Frost books are different from TV series, but they are enjoyable. It's the same with Lovejoy. Yeah, I'd love to read the Lovejoy books. I love the TV series, but I would love to read the Lovejoy books. Oh, I forget his name now. He was also on a Babylon 5 movie, but he was on the newer series. Um, it's a Neil Gaiman thing, and oh, I can't. Anyway, um,
Are you talking about a Neil Gaiman like TV series that's current?
yeah,
Are you talking
well,
about Good Omens?
not Good Omens. Another one that was being done about the same time.
Hmm.
American Gods.
Oh, American Gods, right.
But anyway, he's really good. He deals in books a little bit, but he's an antique dealer, and at least in the TV series. But he'll go into a place and he gets the feeling that there's something great there. You know, which I always liked. It was a good series. Frost was good with Granville from Open All Hours. I can't think of his name. But yeah, I have or had or have one of the books, but I never got around to reading it. Poldark. Yeah, I like the series. I never read the books. Is that Graham Swift? I think. I didn't realize it was original. Yeah, there's a whole series of them of Lovejoy. I can't remember the guy's name, but I'd love to read Peter O'Donnell's novels about this comic strip, Modesty Blaze, are fantastic. Oh, I didn't know there was a novels. Yeah, Wycliffe was based on books. I thought it was. Yeah. Uh, Sandman. I'm not sure where the Sandman comes in. Oh no, I think that was the Gaiman one. No, Ian McShane. Yeah, that's the name. I just couldn't think of his name. Version of Poldark was filmed near me, but I've never seen a single episode. But I think the '70s version would be more atmospheric. But again, never watched. Yeah, the '70s version is a bit strange because it's. I think it's, if I remember right, it's one of those that they did on video, which looks glaringly fake. Like, when they do the outside, it just doesn't look video as opposed to film. It's very glaring. The difference of the look.
What's Poldark?
It's um, it's smug. Is it a smug? Yeah, it's a smugglers series. Set in Cornwall. I think it's about smugglers. If I remember right, it's a long time since I've
Okay.
seen it. David Jason, yeah. Winston Graham or Winston Groom. That's it. Well, I think I said Winston Graham, but yeah, Winston Groom. That's the Poldark ones. But there's all sorts of stuff like that are really cool. Um, but yeah, the mysteries, I just never got around to them, to reading them for some reason until I don't know why I picked up something and I really enjoyed it. And I've got a bunch of the old ones. I've got a bunch of the British Library imprint ones, that look really good. They're the old English ones, or British ones. But anyway, I guess that's an hour, and I think I'm fading. Uh,
Okay.
Only fools and horses. Yeah, I always think of him as from Open All Hours, Granville. Uh, so that's for me. That's David Jason, because I never really saw. I don't. Only Fools and Horses didn't show up much in Canada for some reason. That's the thing. There's a lot of TV series that never made it across the pond. Some I'm thankful for, and others I wish I saw more. So yeah, so I think that's it. Next week will be our CIMAC live at 6 o'clock rather than 7 o'clock. So we'll be discussing two books. We'll be discussing All Flesh is Grass and
Special Deliverance.
yeah, Special Deliverance. Yeah, thank you. So bye everybody. Thanks for
Bye.
stopping.